And welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon.
Jason, what a week of sports we just went through. One of the great weeks you'll have as an Arizona Wildcat fan.
And when you have the overlap of the different sports, you run into that, and it was good. And that brings us, Pat, to our Huddle poll question. We'll start with that. Everybody can vote on X. What do you think was the most thrilling Arizona Wildcat win last week? The basketball upset over defending national champion Florida to open the season in Las Vegas, football becoming bowl eligible on homecoming against Kansas, home against Kansas, or triathlon winning back-to-back national championships, doing so over ASU and 13 other schools in Tempe. Pat, I voted for C. I'm going to think that I like to guess and think how you voted. I'm going to think I say you did A with honorable mention for C.
Yeah, I wish there was a D, all of the above. Or, yeah, I wish I could do a combo vote because
we should have done that. You could say something. You could chip in.
I'd like to do D, all the above. Now, I think each one of them was important in so many ways, for obvious and different reasons. You were at two of those, which I'm jealous because I was only at one of them.
Well, you couldn't have been. Nobody could be at all three because football and triathlon happened at the exact same time.
Well, maybe no, you're right. You couldn't even do the first half and then go.
No, no. Football was 1:30. Triathlon was 2.
Yeah. Here's why I did pick A, and it was barely above C. Is I think you and I maybe we're in the minority of how big we really think that is, a triathlon national championship. And you can say, yeah, but only a tenth of the schools of the Division I schools in say football and basketball even have women's triathlon, but it's a big deal. And not only that, you're now establishing this dynasty of a program with triathlon where you did the interview, Jason. The head coach says they're all coming back, so they can win.
Well, they have the best triathlete in the nation too.
Yes, and they have the best triathlete in the nation. You got a chance for a three-peat, and that's incredible. But we all know what this place is. We are a basketball school first and foremost. And for me, when you upset the defending national champions, yes, each year you're all different, but Florida was ranked 3rd in the country, and they had their entire front court coming back. And we talked about this last week. What Koa Pete and Jaden Bradley were able to do against one of the best, teams in the country right out of the gate was super impressive to me.
I mean, Koa P looks like a superstar. I mean, we like to talk about the eye test here. It's kind of one of our favorite phrases on this show. Right away, he looks like an NBA player right now. I mean, he's one of those rare guys who could probably play going out of high school, and be maybe a reserve this year in the NBA, but he won't be a backup for very long in that league, and probably never when he finally gets there. But right away, he is just a special player who looks the part. Both physically maturity and also emotionally the maturity level. And he is a cut above. Arizona, Pat, is the only Power 4 school to start 3 true freshmen. Mm-hmm. Now, Burries and Ivan Karchenkov are not going to be as consistent as Koa Pete, right? They each have had one good game and one game that was maybe not as great as their other game. Right. But these are 3 very talented freshmen that Arizona is playing right now. I think 3 schools in the whole country are playing 3 true freshmen, and Arizona is the only Power 4 school to do so.
And yet you look at the other 2 starters and then the guys off the bench, and you've got so much veteran talent as well, Jason. So, yes, you've got in Koa Pete, potentially the player of the year in the conference, maybe. I mean, it's a long shot. You still got to, Houston will have something to say about that. But the point is, he'll be in the conversation for conference player of the year. If he continues to play like this, like we expect him to, he'll be in the conversation, at least for national player of the year or first team All-American, because he's just that talented. The big stage didn't bother him at all against Florida when the whole world was watching because of that Monday night game that was broadcast nationally. It didn't bother him at all. And then you look at what a Braden Burries can do, who, admittedly didn't have a great game in the first game, but had a really solid bounce back game the other night against Utah Tech and Karchenkov. What a talent that most all of us didn't even know about existed until he showed up, and during those summer workouts, kind of jumped out at you a little bit. But you still have you still have Jaden Bradley, you still have Mo Krivas. You know Del Orso can make a play or two, and nobody is a better rebounder than Tobe Awaka. Tommy Lloyd talked about it, Jason, afterwards. He said, Arizona fans need to really enjoy this and appreciate what they're watching. And I think that's his maybe not even so subtle of a way of saying this is a special team in his eyes, and he thinks that they're going to go further, that potentially they can go further than they've gone in his 5 years here.
Well, he kind of indicated that before the season. And now, Pat, Tommy Lloyd has done something in 2 of the last 3 Arizona games that I do not agree with. I'm going to bring up what it is, and so we can discuss. Jaden Bradley got 2 fouls against Duke in the first half, I believe, in the Sweet 16 game, took them out. And Jaden Bradley got 2 fouls against Utah Tech in the first half, and he takes them out. Jaden Bradley is not a big man who is in danger of fouling out of the game. He is too valuable to this team to be on the bench. He should not be sitting just because he has 2 fouls. I guarantee you if there were analytics on that, it would say that, okay? He does the team no good sitting on the bench. Just because Jaden Bradley has 2 fouls in the first half does not mean he should be taken out of the game. Now, it didn't cost them against Duke because Conrad Martinez played so well, and it didn't cost them against Utah Tech because they were going to beat Utah Tech even if they only had 4 guys, okay? So it didn't cost them in those games. But I don't want that to happen later in the season. I do not think that Jaden Bradley should be out of the game in the first half because he has 2 fouls.
You texted me that because we were both watching the game. Obviously, I was at the game, and you texted me that, and I disagreed. I don't disagree adamantly, but here's why I disagree. There's definitely a hard and fast rule that coaches employ, and that is don't get 3 fouls in the first half. So avoid getting the 3rd foul. And what it did was, and I texted back to you, but it gives opportunities for other guys to run the point.
But he didn't. I don't agree with that because he didn't bring in Evan Nelson. Evan Nelson didn't come.
That's not who you're going to bring in. You're going to move
player on this team.
You're going to move.
Didn't come in until the game was out of reach in the second half.
You're going to move Braden Burries to that, and that's what he did. And Braden Burries thrived at that spot when he was given the opportunity. Remember, we always talk about who's going to run the points. That's the guy that brings the ball up. Once they start the motion, you become a shooting guard. All three of those guards are guards, so it doesn't matter. But it gives him a little bit more responsibility, and he grabbed that responsibility with Jaden Bradley on the bench. Did Braden Burries, puts up 18 points. A lot of the damage he did in that first half was with Jaden Bradley on the bench, and then he brought Jaden Bradley back later towards the halftime. I think they're just setting this team up in that Utah Tech game. It was just, these are the scenarios that may play out when we play Duke or when we play Houston. So if Jaden Bradley gets 2 fouls early against Houston, you're going to pull him out of the game because you can't afford to get a 3rd. The issue with, you're right, he's not the kind of guy that's going to foul out. Mo Krivas fouled out first time in his career. That was one of those games where Utah Tech was going at him so hard that they were committing fouls. And you're going to have other teams that do that. And you want to protect those players because if you get that 3rd foul, Jason, you're handcuffed now. You can't do anything the rest of you have to be really careful.
Or he may not get another foul the rest of the game. It's not like
in that game as it was playing out, Utah Tech was really, really aggressively going after with the ball, going after
now that
those
could be another team strategy to get Bradley out of the game. I wouldn't do that. I think it's the wrong move to take him out of the game with 2 fouls in the first half.
I disagree.
It's like punting. I'll give you the analogy. It's like being 4th and 1 on the opponent's 37 and punting. Just go for it. Just leave him in the game.
Yeah, I don't agree because
I don't agree at all.
That other team is gonna, when you get into conference play and you're playing Iowa State, who's got great defenders, you playing Houston, who's amazing at defense. What do you think they're going to do if they know Jaden Bradley has 2 fouls and there's 10 minutes left in the first half? They're going to go right at him and try to get a 3rd foul. So you have to protect that player, I think, at all costs. And I think that they have so much depth. We talked about last week. This is a team depth that we have not seen under Tommy Lloyd. Maybe we haven't seen it in 2 decades. I don't know. We'll find out. But we certainly see a team that has
depth is that huge. Remember, Aristode's the 8th guy. I don't think this is a team with huge depth. I think this is a team with some really good top players with Koa Pete and Jaden Bradley and some of the other ones.
I said I think that the quality of depth of those 6, 7, 8 players is better than we've seen, and I think that's why you're going to have games.
That
Yeah.
I can see.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not considering 9, 10, 11.
Okay.
I'm talking
I
about
got you. No, I agree with that.
yeah, of the
That's
8
fair.
guys we're going to see. We haven't seen 8 strong guys this strong, and we showed it Arizona up to number 5. We talked about how we were kind of, okay, 13 is fine. You're staying under the radar. There's no under the radar anymore. When they beat Florida, they became a lot of people's Final Four team. I saw the very next night, TNT had more games, and that same crew that was doing it had their Final Fours, and a couple of them had put Arizona now in their Final Fours. So you're not under the radar anymore.
Yeah, so much for that East Coast bias. One final thought on Arizona basketball, and we'll get to football. NAU tonight, but then UCLA Friday in the Intuit Dome in LA. I think they're going to be very hungry. The players who were on this team last year, I know there's only 4 in the rotation of the 8, but they blew that game last year.
That was a game
they blew that lead. Bradley missed a layup. He hasn't forgotten that play.
No.
That layup that he missed, they would not have lost that game.
Right.
Would have been out of reach.
They just needed to score at some point, to stem the comeback for UCLA, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Jason Barr, Pat Parris is the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly sports talk show. You can vote on X for what you think was the most thrilling Arizona win this past week, basketball, football, or triathlon. Okay, let's get to the football team. This was the one game that I didn't see because I was at triathlon. You were there.
I was there.
You want to give me your thoughts first, or do you want me to give you a thought on Noah Fifita?
I'll say that where my seats are, that first quarter was hot because it was directly in the sun. Then finally the shade came. No, that was my first critique. Actually, I thought, besides the touchdown drive early by Arizona, I thought this was one of Noah Fifita's games where he wasn't all that sharp, which was disappointing in some ways. It reminded me kind of that Iowa State game where he was just a little off, and they were able to rely on the defense to keep Kansas from really extending the lead, and you just felt like there was going to be a comeback for Arizona, and there was. And yes, they were down 24-17 late, but they got the ball. Noah Fifita ran it. Craig ran a couple times and he scores a touchdown. And I think he well deserved to me to be the co-offensive Big 12 Player of the Week, Quincy Craig, because he did a phenomenal job. And I think it shows that Arizona has to be able to win in different ways, Jason. They can't just expect Noah Fifita to make a rollout, make a play, and win games. You've got to do it in different ways, and they certainly did on Saturday.
There was a quarterback for the Eagles, Donovan McNabb, who fans had very wide ideas and opinions of how good he was.
Yep.
I mean, some people thought he was no good. Other people thought he was great. He thought he was a Hall of Fame quarterback. He is not. It was not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
He's a good quarterback.
Good quarterback. Solid quarterback.
And so, my thought with Noah Fifita is he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. Arizona's lucky to have a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? Let him be a good quarterback. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is he a bad quarterback? Of course not. Okay.
No.
He is a good quarterback. He is tied for the program record for the most career touchdown passes. He will likely break it this week, or he needs just one. Now that is a mark based on kind of circumstance, right? Nick Foles didn't play enough, to be the program's all-time passing leader. Is he as good a quarterback as Nick Foles? I don't think so. Is he as good a quarterback as Matt Scott, the quarterback who succeeded Nick Foles? And was drafted, I think, in the 7th round, maybe. Yeah. I don't think so. Okay. Is he better than the other quarterbacks who have been here since? Probably. Yeah. But just let him be maybe a very good quarterback, and I'm fine with it.
And that part I'll agree with. I do think, though, when you look at the Big 12 as a whole, he is one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. I think clearly, his height is a disadvantage, and when you get big paws up in the way, he can't make the throw. He gets sacked. His decision making at times has been terrific. Those first couple of drives in that Houston game at Houston a few weeks ago, when they ended up losing at the end, those drives against BYU when he looked so sharp. That was Noah Fifita at his very best. We saw that maybe in one drive on Saturday, but the rest of the time there was indecision, there was wrong decision, and there were a lot of sacks. I think they sacked him 5 times, and that just can't be. That isn't Noah Fifita's game. He's got to get rid of the football more often than he does when plays are not happening. That's the one criticism I'll have of him. And yet, you know, they go into Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a really good team. Can they win that game? They can win that game. I don't think they will, but I think they have a chance to win that game. But they definitely have a chance to win the game back here against Baylor. And then, to me, the ASU game seems to be much more of a toss-up than it was a few weeks ago when ASU's quarterback was healthy. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't think that's a definite loss the way I said it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Without Sam Levitt, I don't think they're going to ASU and winning that game. I don't think they match up well against that team. But I don't think that's the definite they're losing that game the way I felt a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Let's see in a couple weeks, you know, how that shakes out. Pat, this is a conversation for another day. But if Noah Fifita is not going to be an NFL quarterback because of his height, and he only has one more year left, and he has the potential to earn a lot more money somewhere else because he is a really good locker room guy, and he is a really good leader, and he's got the intangibles. And there are teams that would love to have him who have everything but a quarterback, who would shell out big bucks for him, NIL and what have you. It's been well documented how he turned down other offers to stay at Arizona the last couple of years. Yeah. He might have another tough decision in this offseason.
Maybe. You know, there are certain people of high character, and I believe he is a person of very high character, Noah Fifita. And I believe that if that NIL money is pretty good, which I believe it is right now, is it the best? No, but it's pretty good. I can't see him even in that situation. I think he has bought into Brent Brennan. I think he is a Wildcat at heart, and I think he comes from a family that believes that a commitment is a commitment is a commitment. And so I don't think I would be surprised if even bigger NIL dollars was enough to get him away from the Arizona program.
And going into that, though, is Seth Doege, because that's somebody another program might have their eyes on. And Seth Doege, the offensive coordinator, is a big reason why he's here. This was his handpicked offensive coordinator.
Right. And I think, you know, that could change things as well. Has Seth Doege done enough
for him? Not that he picked the offensive
right,
coordinator.
But has Seth Doege done enough to this point that you say, okay, he is ready to be a head coach? Perhaps.
No, but he could be offensive coordinator at a traditionally power school.
It could be. My hope is that they both stay for one more year, and then you start all over again if you're Arizona, because Doege will head somewhere else, and you'll be out of eligibility for Noah Fifita.
Jason Barr, Pat Parris is the Huddle, KGUN's weekly sports talk show. Okay, so we talked about the basketball, the football. Let's touch on just a little bit more. One more thing on triathlon before we get to the Huddle poll question to kind of circle about, which was what was the most thrilling.
There is Rudy Martinez has a comment. Dash Fifita is coming here, but not a quarterback.
Right. So, I think he plays defense.
Yeah, he does. I thought he was.
But Rudy Martinez makes a good point here, because that's your family.
I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. He stays one more year because his brother is coming here. Yeah, I mean
that's a good point.
That's a good point. So well done.
I don't think that's going to keep Koa Pete here, though. One more year.
There is nothing on the planet that will keep Koa Pete back at Arizona for a second seat. He is the one and done that I'm fine with that. You're so good. We're lucky that the NBA has the rule that you can't come out of high school and go right into the NBA with a guy like that.
Yeah. We mentioned at the beginning, congratulations again to the Arizona Triathlon team, wins a national championship for the second straight year. And that takes us back to our Huddle poll question, which I want to get to. And then, Pat, I want to give one thought on Arizona basketball recruiting. Which do you think was the most thrilling Wildcat win last week? Was it the football team becoming bowl eligible on homecoming against Kansas with Fifita tying the touchdown record? Do you think it was basketball defeating defending national champion Florida in Las Vegas to start the season? Or was it triathlon? And we'll put up the results here in a minute here on the screen of what you think was the most thrilling Wildcat win. You can vote on X. And while that's being done and the results are being put up on the screen, Pat, we should mention there's 2 cams here. So the joke now is Arizona basketball is being caught on cam. There's one Cameron who Oh, look how even this is. How do you like that?
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. I
that's
love
what
that.
you want to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think D might have won. If we had a D, I think D might have won.
Yeah, all the above.
All
Make
the
people
above.
choose.
Yeah.
So Cameron Williams, I believe is his name, is the number 4 overall recruit in the whole nation.
Yep.
And he is going to make his college decision at, I believe, 12:45 Arizona time, I think it is.
On Friday, 12:45.
I forget the exact which time zone is. Friday, I believe, on CBS Sports Network.
It's Mountain Time, so our time.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
He tweeted out about the other Cam, who is like top 40 in the nation, okay? Who's 4-star choosing Arizona. So he kind of like retweeted that, which kind of makes you think that he's going to go to Arizona. Maybe. Also the fact that he's choosing it on the day they play UCLA.
Yep.
What's interesting are the 2 other teams that Arizona is up against, Duke and Texas.
Texas.
Texas and Sean Miller, of course.
Sean Miller, yeah.
Sean Miller, and this player is at Millennial, I believe, in Arizona. Sean Miller should not, the former Arizona coach now in Texas, should not be coming to Arizona and taking recruits away from Arizona. So, unless he's throwing some big pile of money at this guy,
well,
that would be the only reason I think he would be going to Texas. Because why else would you go to, Duke is Duke. I get it. If Duke wants you, I get that. But he should not be going to Texas over Arizona.
I think Arizona has a lot going for it right now, and when it comes to these freshmen, because they're looking at what's going on right now with Tommy Lloyd's team and starting 3 freshmen. They understand that they'll not only get the playing time. Obviously, you're going to get the playing time if you're number 4 player in the country, but you're going to get prime time, national TV exposure, playing the Floridas and Auburns and Alabamas and UCLA's, and then you get into conference and you're playing Houston and Iowa State and BYU and Kansas. I really think the Big 12's in a great position right now. I think Arizona is in an even better position because of the national profile that is on them right now, and they've reached now. So I have good thoughts about Cam coming here on Friday.
I'm sure he'd love to be the next Koa Pete. Other schools that were interested: Kentucky, Purdue, SMU, North Carolina, Indiana, and Louisville. They've all been eliminated. It's now Arizona, Duke, and Texas.
It's a little interesting that Texas seems to be the outlier in that group, right? Of the blue
It's exciting
blood,
to be visiting. He says, I know a lot of people out there, and a lot of people are telling me go to Arizona. So it's finally good to go and really check out the campus. I've been down there for a couple of games. Like I went to the BYU game, the Duke game, and they lost to BYU and Duke when he was there. Although that hasn't factored in recruits' decisions before.
No, because you can easily say you're going to be the guy to help.
Yeah, I remember Raleigh Yalkin's visit was the one game they lost at home that year that he visited. Several years ago, and the Red Blue scrimmage. It's only like an hour and a half away.
Yeah,
Duke. It was good. It was a really good experience. I like their playing style. They went into depth on a lot of things. I could see myself going there, like I could with all the schools. They play 5 out, and I feel like they have a versatile offense that fits me. Texas, last one I'll read here. Coach Miller was straight up. He said he wanted to make me his number 1 priority, and my parents really loved that. My whole family loved that. It was a really good experience overall, and it's kind of similar to SMU, where he's coached guys like me in Lowry Markkanen, Zeke Naji, and Aaron Gordon, guys of my caliber, and he's just saying that when I get there, I'm going to develop. Wow. How about that for intrigue?
I still like our chances. I still like Arizona's chances. We'll see.
Well, it'd be
not the end of the world. Either way, not the end of the world, but it would be, it would be a similar situation to having Koa Pete for sure.
Yeah. All right. This has been the Huddle, KGUN's weekly streaming sports talk show. Hope everybody's enjoying all the Arizona Wildcat success out there. And we'll be back next Tuesday, hopefully talk about some more. For Pat Parris, I'm Jason. This is the Huddle, KGUN's weekly streaming sports talk show. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday.